Hi everyone, in this example we'll be looking at syntax and nouns on the SAT writing section. The question we'll be looking at today is number 30 from official practice test number 5. And if we look at the top, it says, ironically, the success of crowdfunding may weaken overall funding for the arts if people begin to feel that paying for the art loved by them is someone else's responsibility, and the line that has been underlined is loved by them. So I wrote two things down below that are important to remember for the SAT writing section and which we can use for this question. And that's the kind of voice that you're using when you're writing. Now there are two types of voices that you can use when you're writing. One is the active voice, where in a sentence the subject comes before the verb. And the second is a passive voice, where your verb comes first and then you have your subject. So one example of this would be the sentence, John makes cookies. So this is an example of the active voice because the subject John comes before the verb makes. And we can also see the converse of that, which would be if I wrote the sentence, the cookies were made by John. So in this case, made once again is the verb, and this time it comes before John, which comes at the end of the sentence and is the subject. So one thing that's important to remember is that the active voice is always going to be preferred. If you have to choose between the two, you always want to stick with the active voice because it just sounds more clear and concise. So let's look at this question. We can start by eliminating two answer choices by simply looking at the noun people earlier in the sentence. So if we look at this, it says overall funding for the arts if people begin to believe, or if people begin to feel that paying for the art loved by them is someone else's responsibility. So we know that people is a plural noun, which means that when we have to refer to it later, we're going to have to use another plural noun. If we look at choices C and D though, we have loved by him or her. Him or her are obviously singular, so we can eliminate that. And we have he or she loves. Once again, he or she loves would be singular. If the noun before wasn't people and if it was something like person, then he or she could be right. But because it's people, we know this is wrong as well. So now we're down to A and B, either loved by them or they love. And this is where we can use the active and passive voice. As you can see, choice A is loved by them, and this is clearly a passive voice. Loved is the verb, somebody loves something. By them is the noun, and this are the subject, and that comes after the verb. So if we instead look at they love, this just sounds so much more concise and clear. They is the subject followed by the verb love. So if we were to reread this, it would be, ironically, the success of crowdfunding may weaken overall funding for the arts if people begin to feel that paying for the art they love is someone else's responsibility. So as you can see, if we just reread the sentence, it sounds way more clear, and it's just the better answer choice. And in this case, it's also the correct answer choice. So we can eliminate A, no change, and stick with B as the correct answer for this problem. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.